Yeah, whatever. Let's see how this goes. Wait, no. Hopefully it'll be short. Alright. 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, so this is Octopath Traveler. This is Ophilia single story. I will be playing this with a lone traveler challenge restriction, which basically just means with one character. So the game starts with us in her chapter 1 town, and the goal of the game is to do all 4 chapters of your starting character. For me, it's Ophilia. Here you can see me guide this character, and basically guide is Ophilia's path action. There's 8 characters in this game. You can start with any of the 8, but each of the 8 have different path actions and also different different talents that you can use in the abilities, as well as different jobs. So it really changes up how you play depending on which character you take, and also what jobs and classes and such that you choose to go with. So here I'm just going to advance the story a little bit, and the basic gist of the story is, oh hello McKellen, good evening to you too. I'm doing marathon commentary practice, but it's good to see you. I hope you're doing well. I'm doing good. I'm doing pretty good. I had a COVID test earlier today, and I don't feel bad or anything, and then I stayed home from work, work from home that is, and otherwise just trying to get some practice in. How are you doing this evening? Alright, so anyways, over here, Ophilia's story basically just has her help her sister, who basically, her sister is supposed to go on kind of a pilgrimage, kind of a journey to the churches in the country, but Ophilia takes over that duty because her adopted sister's father gets sick. So here you can see me move on from the starting town, and this is going to be like the first dangerous area where we can run into enemies. But these enemies are very safe. It's easy to bump into them, and you can break to guarantee a flea or just try to get a flea. Here I surprise my foe, so I get a free flea. So I'm just gonna flee here because it's just faster, and they don't give much EXP or JP early on, so we want to generally try to avoid encounters like this. Also, just to note that when I was in the town just now, I bought a weapon, and I also recruited this NPC. Ophilia's path action allows her to recruit NPCs and summon them into battle, which can be pretty useful, especially if you find one that's very synergistic or can hit some weaknesses that you can't. I killed my first... Wait, sorry, 1 second. Okay, I had to move over my screen because I couldn't read the chat. Here I'm gonna break and flee to guarantee the flee. If you don't break, you can fail and it might hit you. Your first 2 chubby Kates, McCullen. Oh, congrats! I guess you got a lot of EXP and JP and money from that? They tend to be a little difficult. How'd you defeat them? So over here, Ophilia has this tavern patron that I recruited. His ability in battle is called Summon Winds, which is really helpful against this first boss. In addition to that, I bought the Quartz Rod, which boosts Ophilia's attack a lot. I summoned this guy, and basically he can start helping deal damage and break the boss. So I haven't talked about this yet, but the stones, haha. I guess large soul stones or something. That's a way that I like to do it too, because it's a lot more consistent. So here you can see me boost this attack. Basically in this game, there's a break and boost system. This boss right now, you can see him having like the stars above his head. That means that he's broken, and he has a certain number of shields. When we bring the shields down to 0, he breaks and becomes more vulnerable. So I can't control the tavern patrons. I might have to heal here, depending on what he does to me or not. Let's see. I can avoid this. Come on. Okay, this is good because he'll break him, and I'll defeat him with the second boosted. If he didn't break with Summon Winds here, I would have had to heal because the wisp would explode soon, and that does a lot of damage. Okay, I didn't get the drop. There's a chance of getting a Shadow Soulstone drop. I believe it's 30%, and that might just help for like the grind, because we do need to grind just a tiny bit for a support skill, which I'll mention a little later. But here, I'm basically done with our chapter 1. That was our first boss, and I'm gonna leave the town. And I'm gonna go over the battle system a little bit more in a bit. But first, we're gonna pick up this NPC before leaving the town. This NPC is known as like basically the Flurry NPC, and Flurry is a useful ability because it can help us get to the Scholar Shrine, which is our first closest next job that we can get, and by getting that we can unlock Evasive Maneuvers, the first support skill of every class. So basically, to go over support skills, when you learn the first 2 skills of your job, you learn the first support skill as well, and there are some useful support skills that we need to try to beat the game, and the Scholar's first one reduces encounters, which, as you can probably tell, is very useful in an RPG speedrun like this. Alright, I got the first turn flee, that's good. When there's 2 enemies like that, you can't break one and flee, so you have to basically just do a flee and just hope. And it can be especially bad if it's a dangerous enemy. You might have to take a good chunk of damage, because they might get some free attacks if you fail your flee. Alright, this is good. My fleas are pretty good right now. So here I'm gonna actually do some safety healing, just in case it might help me tank a little bit more. And I'm gonna try to walk this screen. Walking before you get Evasive Maneuvers reduces the chance of encounter rates just by a tiny bit, and it might allow me to get the Scholar Shrine without an encounter, hopefully. Oh, okay, I got it without an encounter. That's really good. It's about 10% to get that, so that's pretty fortunate. So here, this is the Scholar job, and this Scholar job, basically, there's 8 jobs in the game corresponding to the 8 characters, as well as possibly some other ones later, but these are the ones that we're concerned with, and this first one is Scholar, which is also the most important. And, I guess I will actually just go to Scholar now. Just because later on I might bump into frogs and I won't want to break them with Blizzard. Nice. Thank you, McClellan. Feel free to ask anything if you have any questions, by the way. I'm trying to do commentary practice, so if you do have any questions. Alright, so this is the encounter that's forced, and oh, that's really that's unusual, but very good. I mentioned earlier that if you surprise the enemy, you get a free flee, so I get a free flee here. And that is really fortunate. I'm gonna exit right away, go up, grab a Soulstone here, and then I'm gonna teleport back to Flame's Grace. So over here, I will just head up, and I will grab this Soulstone. There's a tiny chance of encounter, hopefully I don't get it. Alright, and this game lets you fast travel, so I'm gonna fast travel back to the starting town, and I'm good to go. So that Soulstone M does 1100 damage. If you recall, my max boosted attack on the broken boss did about 600, so you can see that it does a lot more damage, and this, we're gonna actually use this just to grind a little bit to help us unlock the Scholar ability faster. That's a little unfortunate. I think I'm gonna actually take this encounter though, just because I do want JP, and I believe fire? Okay, is it light? Or maybe staff? I don't actually recall for this enemy. So elements don't matter if it can't break the enemies. So. I wonder if Flurry. Okay, that's good. Although since I probably didn't need to boost that, but oh well, that's fine. Still not yet. Okay. So I want to get 100. I was hoping to get 30 JP for Lightning Blast in this next screen, but okay, that's fine. Alright, here I'm actually just gonna summon right now because I know that this NPC can break them with with that attack basically. Now I'm just gonna boost and hopefully defeats them. Okay, that's good. So this will let me learn Lightning Blast before this screen, which basically increases the chance that I can do a successful grind with ants or something else that I get. Ooh, not that one. So in the screen there's these enemies called ants, and there's a chance that the ants well, these ants give like more JP than the other enemies on the screen, so if I get that, I'm gonna take it. If it's a frog, I'm thinking I'll just flee. Actually, I'll take this, because this is a marathon practice. So here, I'm just gonna break with ice. Oh, actually, I should have done light. Oh well, it's fine. And I'll break and still try to grind a little bit more. Basically, you see I had 9 JP on that screen. I want 91 more now. And I'm going to Whistlewood, which is a very notorious grinding spot. Alright, so here I'm gonna take this encounter too. Usually I wouldn't take these encounters, but I think for marathon, if you're doing a marathon, I'll just take what I can get and just roll with it. These smaller encounters waste a lot of time. Oh lord, the Whistlewood. Yeah, so this area is very notorious among some Octopath speedrunners because it's a common stop in the early game grind for evasive maneuvers, which is the first scholar passive that you want. And I just want to force the encounter here. Not a good encounter, but I'll take it anyway. I'll just take anything. Okay, I think I'll be a little bit short still, like maybe 1 battle short still. Yeah, or 2. It's fine. I'll just go on. So, alright, just to talk about the battle system a little bit more. It's a break and boost battle system. Basically, every turn you get a battle point, a BP, and every turn you get a battle point, and when you reduce the opponent's number of shields to 0, they're in this broken state that you can see, and you do extra damage to them. So ideally, we want to break, and then we boost and unload all our strongest attacks, and it just helps with dealing a little bit more damage. Before they're broken, they take less damage, so that's why we want to try. That's why you see me saving the BP until the break and to load up the damage. Not a great encounter, but I'll take this one too. So this one's weak to bow, and I'll just hope for flurry, which is multi-hit bow. And I didn't get that. That's fine. Oh, I did not mean to do that. Alright. I meant to defend. Oh well. It was just a misclick on my part. Alright, 6 more. I'm actually gonna force an encounter right before leaving the screen, just because the next screen, the enemies can be a lot less, and hoping for... this is just for practice, but I wouldn't mind any good time, like anything around an hour would be fine. I put my estimate as 1 hour 20 minutes, which is actually fairly high, but I just wanted to be extra sure. Alright, so here, you saw I have 100 JP. And you saw I unlocked evasive maneuvers, and this just reduces encounter rate by about, I think, 2.5%, or like, 2.5 times as much. So McClellan, I suppose anything around like an hour would be fine. If I could get sub hour, that'd be cool, because my PB is around 1 hour 1 minute, but I'm not like desperate for that or anything. So anyways, that's how the battle system works. It's very reminiscent of Bravely Default, if anyone has played that or heard of that. Basically, the team behind this game worked on Bravely Default, which was also a system where you get battle points every single turn, and you can use that to store up and do extra damage with your attacks and such. I'm just gonna flee from this. I could actually break this one, I believe, with Lightning Blast, but I'm just gonna hope to get good flees, because it's a little bit faster to just flee outright than, attack and flee. So the first stop after we have the evasive maneuvers is Stone Guard. Stone Guard's a nice central location where we can go to other locations nearby. Over here, this chest is 1,200, but I don't actually need that because this route is fairly good on money. Unless I get like extremely unlucky, which is unreasonable. And even if I did, I think I would actually still be fine. So here I'm just going to do a screen reset. You don't actually have to, and you can make the screen without resetting, but the chance of that is not super high. You're fairly likely to get an encounter running to Stone Guard, so I like to do this reset here just to save time. And you could potentially get these, there's a stone in the bottom right corner, but I'm not going to get that because I had been getting that in my practices, but it hasn't been useful in a lot of encounters, so I'm just gonna skip that. And we tag this, and this is just kind of a central point, and also we'll come here later for a quest that we want to do, just to give Ophi just a little bit more HP and defense. So after we tag Stoneguard, the first location we want to go to is Wellspring. Wellspring is between two other locations we want to get to, Marslem and Saintsbridge. So in the early game of Octopath speedruns, it's very typical to basically tag a lot of locations and loot a lot of overworld locations, and you can see me doing that here. I'm going to be tagging a lot and getting a lot of resources and such. And Octopath is essentially an open world game. You can go to like almost anywhere right after you leave your starter town. So I'm going to come to Wellspring here, grab a stone, and then go get Merchant, which is another sub job after Scholar. And Merchant's the sub job that we'll be using to do most of the damage in this game. Alright, there's a chance of encounter on the screen, but it's unlikely. I didn't get it, so that's good. This screen is free. I'm gonna enter this screen, and I'm gonna go down and get a Fire Soulstone. So if you remember earlier, I did 1100 in that forest with a medium Soulstone. Well, here I'm gonna get a Fire Soulstone L, which is gonna do 2700, which is very powerful. Also, I suppose I should also mention that if you hit an enemy's weak point, it does extra damage. So if this hit someone weak to fire, alright, one sec. If this hits someone weak to fire, which I should get an encounter soon that's weak to fire, it'll do 3500 because it does 1.3 well, 3509, but because it does 1.3 times as much when you hit a weak point. So that's something else about this game. You generally want to try to hit the break points, because not only do you bring down the enemy's shield to bring them close to their breaking point, but also you'll do extra damage with each of your attacks. So that's really helpful. So here I'm gonna just go on. I suppose I should also just mention that because I'm doing the Lone Traveler challenge with this, the normal Ophi speedrun does not do this like route. It's very different and much faster too, but this is just a different kind of route to try and compensate for the fact that she's alone and by herself. So I'm gonna run to the Merchant Shrine. There's a fairly likely chance of encounter. You can skip it, but it's unlikely. Am I actually gonna... Okay. So here I'm gonna toss the Fire L to... no, maybe I won't toss the Fire L. I was caught by surprise. These enemies are significantly more powerful than me. You can see they just one-shot me. So I'm gonna enter here and try to get to the Scholar Shrine. Normally you would just enter this screen and save and quit, but because Ophelia is solo, actually, I'm trying to get a certain amount of EXP and JP to make her bosses later on safer. When you're fighting them solo, it's a lot more tricky because you don't have enemy allies to help heal you and help you break and do damage and such. Right, hopefully I don't get caught by surprise here. Alright, I didn't. Alright, you can see I did 3509. That's because they were weak to fire. And I get a little bit extra EXP and JP, so that's nice. And I'll just use that. Basically, I want to try to grind a little bit on the way to the bosses later, and I might do some extra grinding down the line, depending on what encounters I get and how much EXP and JP I got from those. But basically, I'm trying to hit level 15 for Stoneguard later for a quest, and then later around level 17 for her chapter 3. Just because if you're lower, it can be kind of rangy. I have to plug in my. Sorry about that. I was plugging in my laptop because the battery is running low, and then I was mashing and I mashed too much, and you don't want to do that. Small time waste, but it's fine. So okay, I've left the screen, and now I'm gonna go to the next town. It's basically Ophi's chapter 3 town, and we can't start her chapter 3 until we've done her chapter 2. But we're gonna tag it now to have a warp point, and we'll come back later. And then after we leave this town, we're gonna enter the next town, which is gonna be Grandport. And Grandport has some money, some stones, and just some nice resources nearby, which is convenient. Alright, I'm leaving this town right away after tagging it, as I mentioned. I'll come back here later for chapter 3. Alright, and I will come here, and So fun fact, in some routes, you can scrutinize or inquire that guy and get a little bit extra money later, but this route will not be doing that, obviously, because Ophelia cannot scrutinize. That's Cyrus, the Scholar's path action, or Alphen, the Apothecary's path action. So here I'm going to get a Wind L, and then I'm going to come back to the next screen, and I'm going to get a Thunder L, Thunder M, sorry. So these are more just stones for the encounters later on, and even if I don't use them on the encounters, like I might get lucky and not get an encounter or something, I can still throw it against the final boss in the game, and I'll explain that when I get there. But okay, this screen is pretty dangerous. I'm gonna grab 20k in the bottom left corner, and then I'm gonna go to save point, save and quit. When you save and quit, you reset the encounters on the screen. Same thing with when you leave the screen, like how I done earlier at Stone Guard, by the way. So hopefully I don't get an encounter here. There's a chance. I think my movement wasn't like ideal there, so I don't mind that. But you're reasonably likely to get here without an encounter. Like it shouldn't take too long. Alright. So yeah, this is level 45 area, as you can see in the bottom left corner. That's the danger level, and I'm going to basically try to loot this 20k and then hit the save point. And hopefully I don't get the encounter, because Ophi cannot defeat a level 45 encounter right now. I'm like level 8. Yeah, I'm level 8. So I'm actually going to just run straight into the encounter here. Okay, usually I get the encounter sooner. You can see just because it's faster to let it wipe me than to reset usually if I get the encounter sooner, but I didn't, so that might have actually wasted time. I'm not sure. You can actually just return the title screen from the menu and then go from there, but because I'm solo, it's actually a little bit faster if you get the encounter right away, and it just wipes you out to reset with that than to save and quit, but depends how quickly you get it. So I tagged this. I'm actually going to leave right away and go to a dungeon nearby. It's an optional dungeon called Lock of the Lost King. This dungeon has some nice resources. I'm only going to get the Wind L and the Thunder 30k, but there's also a Palm L, and then casually some players like to fight the optional boss in here. It's a level 50 dungeon, which is one of the highest ones in the game. I believe level 58 is the highest level dungeon in the game. And there's a tiny chance of an encounter in here too, but it's more unlikely. And I'm going to get this Wind L. That's another soulstone I'm going to chuck later, and I'm going to get this 30k. Oh my gosh. I'm using a new controller, by the way, so you can see my movement and such is not great, but it's fine. Alright, so this is a chapter 4 town, and you don't actually have to come here as Ophi, but it's good for getting like a lot of money. And let's see, I'm gonna have to go to Wellspring after this, so I'll go to Wellspring after this. Alright. And you can see that chest I got will be an item we sell for money later. And back here too, I'm gonna grab some money in the back corner. Basically just rob the town. Alright. Alright, so if you recall, I tagged this place earlier, so now that's why, because I can now just fast travel back here. And I'm gonna come to the next screen, and I'm gonna actually just try to get this stone in the bottom left corner, and then there's a very high chance of encounter. If you do get the encounter, it's hopefully okay. There's a chance you can get an encounter you can defeat, and if you don't get the encounter, that's good too. You just leave the screen. I didn't used to get this in the past, but in my practices it had been working out well. You can see here it worked out here. But basically that previous soulstone, Thunder soulstone I just got, it's joked about as basically the cursed soulstone, because there's a very high chance of, there's a reasonably high chance of encounter, and it's very tempting because it's kind of just along the way. So this is another optional dungeon. I'm also going to loot this one too. As you can see, we enter a lot of optional dungeons and we just hope for no encounters. So here I'm actually going to explain something a little bit. This is one of the few glitches that we can use in this no major glitch category. It's called buffer glitch, and I'll explain it after I do it, but basically basically if you hold the control stick, if you hold the top of the panel in Windows, or if you're say on Nintendo Switch, you could just smash the home, use the home button. You can bypass that boss checkpoint, and when you bypass the boss checkpoint, you can loot the treasure chest behind that the boss is guarding. So we just looted the Master Sphere. I also got a Rev Jam that heals 5 BP, full HP, and SP. So the Master Sphere is just sold for money, but the Rev Jam will be used later for a boss. Alright, here, tiny chance of encounter. I didn't get it, that's good. Okay, so here I'm gonna get some armor in the very back of the palace. This is another Chapter 4 town, very dangerous, to run in these areas, but we have evasive maneuvers, so that's good. I'm gonna go to Flame's Grace after this, basically. But I want the armor here to help me along the way. And I'm actually gonna oh, I forgot to equip. Actually, I was supposed to optimize there. Alright, so this equipment menu. Alright, so basically optimize just puts on the highest stat gear and such that you have access to. So overall it counts up all the stats, and then it puts on whatever's the highest number. And I learned hired help here just because if I run into an encounter, I don't want to risk the chance of fleeing and failing, and I also want to get a little bit of JP and EXP, so I'll just use hired help bandits. And hired help is basically the main way we do damage in Octopath speedruns, at least for the single story categories, which this is. Single story basically single story basically refers to a single character in their story. Oh my god. Alright. So this is a Kate. The chance of getting a Kate is relatively low, but it's very good because okay, basically they're the metal slimes of this game, if anyone knows. Thank you, McKellen. Basically they're the metal slimes of this game, if anyone knows Dragon Quest. In Dragon Quest, the metal slimes give extra EXP, JP, but their defense is very, very high, and their evasiveness is very high, and all of that as well. In this game, Kates are the same thing. They're 3% in most areas, up to 6% in 3 special dungeons, but the chance of getting a Kate is very low, like 3% across the whole run. You're not going to have that many opportunities, and then they run very, very quickly as well. Okay, so here, this is a more dangerous screen as well. I'm going to enter the Hunter Shrine here and get Hunter. Then I'm going to I won't actually put on Hunter here because I don't have enough JP EXP, but this Hunter is just used for consistency. Basically my Flurry guy does the same exact purpose. I want to use Arrow Storm, an ability from Hunter, and my Flurry guy here does the same basically thing, but he's not guaranteed to do it, and I want to guarantee that. Also, it's not I prefer consistency in runs over a little more RNG, so that's why. So I leave this. I'm gonna go to Victor's Hollow here on the left, which is another town. This is very, very out of the way in terms of normal Ophelia speedruns, but I want the NPC. I want to guide the NPC here, and basically he has an ability called Inhibit Defenses, which decrease defense and lets me do extra damage. And there are other NPCs in this game that do that, but I want someone who hits a certain kind of weapon type, and every NPC in the game has a certain weapon type. This one I believe is Spear or something, which is ideal because it does not hit the boss, and I don't want to break a boss prematurely, and because you can't control what an NPC does, I choose to use this NPC over closer ones at closer locations. But anyways, I'm gonna leave here now, and I'm gonna go to Northreach. Northreach is a location that is very, very out of the way for normal Ophelia speedruns, but it has several key pieces of loot that we need to complete the run. Basically, in order to circumvent the boss damage in this game, Ophelia's bosses, because she's the cleric class with basically reflect magic abilities and such, they gave her very elemental based later bosses, and because of that we can use certain elemental reduction equipment, very rare ones in fact, to circumvent the damage and prevent her from and allow her to take out the bosses at her lower level solo. And that's what this speedrun's kind of routed around. Okay, here I'm actually going to get an encounter called Reptalios. They're basically two lizards, but I'm overhired help and I have L stones. And Reptalias have about like 5200 HP, and if they're broken and you toss a large fire or a large soul stone, basically you can take them out. So two bandits will guarantee break them, and then you can toss any L stones. So I'm gonna chop. Alright, and that is nice because it'll allow me to get Hunter earlier. Or I'm gonna actually use this right now to. I didn't put on endless items. Okay, that was a mistake. I would have had a chance for endless item proc, but I forgot to put that on actually. But that's fine. Basically, endless items gives you a 25% chance of duping your item, and actually I have to check my. Alright, so endless items gives you a 25% chance of duping the item that you use, and because of that, we can use it to hope for more. Alright, so actually, sorry. I'm gonna explain endless items a little later. I'm coming up against another buffer glitch checkpoint, and I'm gonna do that here as well. Okay, and I just did that. Alright. So basically, endless items gives you a 25% chance of duping an item that you use, which is useful when we chuck a lot of soul stones like we do in this run. But okay, over here I'm gonna basically run through this. This is Therian, the thief character's chapter 4 dungeon, and I buffered through to get into here. And my goal is to loot certain equipment and such in here. So first I'm gonna grab a Palm L here, just because I want to reset the screen. As I mentioned earlier, when you pass through a screen and you enter a new one, you reset the screen. Then I'm gonna go back one screen and loot something down there at the bottom, because if I grabbed it earlier, I would have had a very high chance of encounter, and this kind of just mitigates the RNG of that a little bit. You can still get an encounter, but it's less likely, which is what we hope for. Okay, and we will go to Noble Court after this. Okay, Noble Court and Hunter. Okay. So here I just have to focus a little bit because I want my movement to be okay at least. Like, you're very likely to get an encounter if you move bad. Okay. Alright. I'm gonna try to get this. And hopefully no encounter, please. Alright, if it doesn't surprise me. Oh, I surprised them. That's because of heightened senses. So that's why I like to put on heightened senses, just because it gives you a little bit more leeway. Alright, now I'm like free. Alright, okay, so here I'm gonna put on Hunter and leave here. I mentioned earlier that there was a skill we wanted. Basically, earlier you saw my NPC here use Flurry, and Arrow Storm, the Hunter skill, is basically the same thing as Flurry. Guaranteed 3 hits on an enemy at least, and basically I'm going to try to reach Ophi's chapter 4 town. Oh, a note here, I'm grabbing 2 more pieces of equipment, another elemental reduction equipment and another soul stone. But basically the NPC I have here, he's not consistent, so that's why I like to get Hunter. Plus it's very convenient if you can get heightened senses, because you can get encounters like that, but then you skip them because you surprised them, which is very nice. It's not mandatory, and I think that if you wanted to go for like something that's like a super optimal, you just rely on the NPC flurry. But I like that consistency, and it just helps a little bit. So I'm gonna get the encounter soon. I'm gonna try to break it with Arrow Storm and then flee. If it surprises me and attacks me, I will wipe. Most likely, well, I will pretty much definitely wipe, just because. Alright, you see that? It's guaranteed 3, so I break them and now I can flee. Alright. And these, also I suppose I should mention why I know that encounter is gonna come up. Basically in certain screens we know like the first encounter is almost always guaranteed. And like the only way it can change is if we get a Kate, which is like the cat that you saw earlier that had extra EXP and JP, the metal slime like monster. Alright, here I'm gonna Alright, so I'm level 16 now, which is good. I'm gonna run through here and basically get the final final equipment that I want for this entire run, which is the Royal Crest. It gives 600 HP. It's not like technically you could do it without in theory, but it's makes it a lot more consistent and safer. And Ophi completes the quest without too much, time loss or anything, so that's good. So here I'm gonna talk to this guy, and you can skip cutscenes as oh, I actually did not mention it earlier, but you can skip cutscenes, but you already saw me doing that. I'm gonna go to Wellspring and gonna head to her chapter 2 town and start clearing her chapters now. Alright, Royal Crest and Gleaming. Okay, let me think. Do I need the encounter here? I don't. So I'm gonna reset the screen by going down and then going up. That means that I will very likely not get an encounter in this screen, which is what I want to avoid. Alright. There's still a chance of encounter, but hopefully I won't get it. And basically I'm gonna run to our chapter 2 town, and that's also another reason why we want. Alright, it's fine. I can defeat this with a wind elf. A wind elf specifically. It's unfortunate. I wanted to save the wind elf for chapter 2 encounters, but getting it, it's not the end of the world. It can actually still help with, just getting some levels and all that. So here I am still gonna try to avoid encounters in our chapter 2 town by saving and quitting. Alright, so here I'm just gonna run toward our chapter 2 town. It's called Saints Bridge, and I guess I can kind of talk about the way Octopath was kind of designed map-wise. Basically, you can see how like these zones are very different, and there's basically 8 kinds of zones. Like we're in like kind of like the Riverlands, and we had just passed the Sunlands and all of that. And the way that it's kind of designed is that your characters the developers seem to want the characters to explore around the map. So oftentimes like your chapter 4 town will be way across from your chapter 3, which will be way off from your chapter 2, and so on and so forth. So that's why hers is like very far out of the way, and that's another reason why we do so much exploration in this game and movement, because the game's kind of designed so that you'd be like running around and finding all these locations and fighting these monsters and stuff, which is really cool in my opinion. But anyways, we do her chapter 2. If you recall, I'd mentioned that Ophelia is doing this for her sister. She's basically a cleric heading to these churches, and she visits them and does a special ritual and helps with the town and such. And she helps the children especially, which is very nice. And then here they're just looking for something that's lost, if I recall correctly, although I don't recall what specifically was lost because it's been a while since I played. But okay, sorry about that, my controller's new. Also, something else I should probably mention is that oftentimes you'll need to use the character's path action, which Ophia's is guide, to complete the character's chapter, which I'll guide the boy. And now we learned that another boy is run into the deadly forest, so I'm going to run in and try to save him. And then that's where we will fight our second boss, and our chapter 3 and 4 bosses as well. Okay, so here I'm going to go to the next area. This is Mirkwood, and I'm going to hope for no encounter. If I get an encounter, I will... if I have 2 M stones, I'll chuck the M stones, but if not, I'm hoping to just save and quit, and then just get through that, but we'll see. Alright, that's good. I'm just gonna save and quit here, because I don't need the encounter, and I want to save the stone. And I might be able to just flee, but I'd rather not take the chance and just get the free flee. There's a pouch in the bottom left corner here, but I'm not gonna actually, time slot for the 30th. I have the date bookmarked. There's a command, McClellan. If you type exclamation part FTLG, it will give you the link, I believe. Sorry, I think it's 7 p.m. I want to say. Okay. Did the command work? I don't know. Okay. Alright, yeah, okay, I'm glad it worked. Sorry, I'm trying to focus here. And yeah, I think it is around 7 p.m. EST if you want to tune in. Okay, so this encounter is basically guaranteed. This is why I wanted to save at least one. Alright, that was a good dupe. This upcoming boss, I'm going to chuck 30k at it, and then I'm going to chuck another L stone, and then I'm going to chuck more money at it. So I mentioned earlier that Merchant is this class we use for the most Octopath speedruns, and that's because it has hired help, which does damage that's set regardless of your... Alright, so here it's... Palms give extra BP, which is nice. And I'm gonna reduce the shields to 1, defend, break, and then defeat him. So the hired help. That was a good dude. Hired help does damage regardless of your own stats. It uses the veteran soldiers that I'm paying here. It uses their stats, and they are way stronger than I am. I wouldn't be able to do 20k like that just did, so that was good. Okay, so here I just defeated Vintner, which is her second chapter boss, and I will complete the chapter and by going to the church, and then I will go to her chapter 3 town. But basically, that boss there, I got extra BP. I use veterans, which does damage, set damage, well, more or less set damage. And then, yeah, McClellan, I don't recommend doing it casually just because they're super expensive. But I mean, if you want to, you can. It's just they're very expensive. Oh my god, 30k is like a lot. But anyways, if you recall, I tagged her chapter 3 town earlier, so now I will come here and I will do this. Alright, and same thing, wanna run to the church and do her chapter 3. Good for bosses. I had 300k last. Oh wow, that's a lot of money. 300k can buy you 10 veterans. So yeah. Alright. I'm gonna get another Palm M in the corner here just because it's pretty close and it's safe, so. I'm gonna skip the cutscenes and finish her chapter 3. I will go back to Victor's Hall to guide the NPC that I mentioned earlier, and then I will go fight her boss, which is fairly powerful. But hopefully we'll be okay. We'll see. Okay, so we'll guide and move on. But yeah, hired help veterans is the way that most Octopath speedruns do their damage, and it's super helpful. That and soul stones, so you can see how I'm like doing a lot of damage in this. Okay, so you see that I moved a little badly there. I'm a little rusty, to be honest, but I mean, hopefully it's okay. So this is Victor's Hollow. I'm grabbing just the NPC here just because I want his inhibit defense ability, and I'll go back to the town because I will basically be closer to the entrance, which is, you know, the way to the dungeon. I'm gonna actually pick up this Thunder M here. Is Tressa easiest to speedrun? Tressa is indeed the easiest speedrun, I believe. Tressa and Ophelia are considered the easiest too. But Tressa has the fastest speedrun. Alright, I'm gonna do a safety save here. You don't have to. There's a reasonable chance you get no encounter on the screen, but I like to try to play it safe, especially for a marathon. I'm gonna save here, so if I get the encounter, you're very likely to wipe, but then you're guaranteed to go through on the second time through. So hopefully I just don't get the encounter. Hopefully, please, please, please. Alright, that's good. Usually you would skip cutscenes, but this one there's only 2 text boxes, so you just mash, and that's actually faster. I believe Tress is sub 40 minutes, and I think it's the only one that's sub 40 minutes, so it is the fastest. Alright, this is a big screen. I'm going to do a save and quit, which resets the encounters. I believe I mentioned that earlier, but in case I didn't, it does reset the encounters, which is quite nice. And this chapter 3 boss is the most RNG of the bosses that we can run into. Okay, I do have to learn Reflective L, but that's fine. I also have to heal, but it's fine. Okay. Alright, so this boss coming up, I want to sidestep them, and then... Alright. Oh, you just fought this one? Oh great, you can see the way I do it, I guess. It's a lot more, I don't know, RNG, I guess. But anyways, I try to sidestep to block a physical, well, a rune attack. Then I will summon to try to get inhibit defense off from my NPC. And then I will palm L or palm, or rev jam even, possibly. Alright, so Luminescence would normally do 500, but I have the Gleaming, which reduces by 99%. That's the rare equipment I mentioned earlier. And this is not good, I think, because I'm going last on next turn, so I'm very likely to just wipe here. But okay, that rune, Arcane Blade, would have defeated me if I didn't have my side steps up. So I'm gonna try to break with a lot of oof. So yeah, he boosts his attack after that. Alright, I think I just wipe here, but we'll see. It's a lot of RNG this fight. So basically you want to break and chuck a lot of veterans to defeat the left guy, then chuck a stone to defeat the right guy. Okay, let's see what happens here. Nope, I just wipe, unfortunately. The turn order, I think, was very unfortunate, because you want to ideally break a little bit sooner and go sooner, but it's fine. This is why I saved before the battle. And it's basically expected to take a couple tries on this boss. So again, I'm just going to repeat this until I get it, and it shouldn't take too long. I do have a backup strat in actual marathon if it does take too long. I'll just chuck extra vets, I think. Or probably just, actually, should be okay. Okay, this turn order is bad again because it's the same exact turn order, but it's alright, we'll see. Getting inhibit defense is good though, but I will actually need, I believe, more than one, but we'll see how this works out. Alright, let's see. It's not good, but... So ideally I want to break the left guy before he does this enhancement ability, because when he enhances, the NPC is a lot more powerful. Like you can see here, he does more damage, so it's a little unfortunate. I think I just wipe here too, but again, we'll see. A lot of it depends on the turn order, so okay, that's good. Yeah, no, unfortunately not. So I've been able to circumvent a lot of damage with the Gleaming. Usually that light attack that did 5 damage to me would do 500, which is very helpful. And one of the reasons why this route actually works is because of those 99% reduction equipment. And I use that Gleaming, and I'll also be using 2 more 99% reduction equipment, which isn't used in normal speedruns, but there was a strat like ages ago where we did use it, but not for like one of the longer categories, but it was routed out. But anyways, same thing as before. Okay. A little unfortunate, but he helped. It's a good dupe, but my turn order again, as you can see, I'm going last, so it's not great. We'll see how this works out. Getting that is actually okay, because I don't take damage at least. And the other guy will always heal last, so that's okay too. Alright, let's see if the turn order is okay, I think. We'll see. I think it might be doable, depends on the turn order coming up after this, but we'll see. I break and I'll defeat the left guy right now. And then it depends on turn order coming up. Oh wait, this is not good. Yeah, no. Alright, it's fine. This is why I put the estimate kind of high at 1 hour 20 minutes. But yeah, this is pretty rough. Sometimes I can just get through this the first try, sometimes it'll take me 3, sometimes it'll take me a half dozen, just like this. Alright, so we'll just... I'm sorry if this is boring for anyone watching, but yeah, it's just RNG. Okay, let's see what happens here. Not great. Arcane, I believe. Coming up. More fireball. So also, I guess I can mention that I actually have fire reduction gear as well. So I use 4 different kinds of elemental reduction. And actually, the dungeons we passed, this dungeon and the last dungeon, will actually have the remaining 2. So in theory, there's a lot of elemental reduction gear around Ophi. I don't have inhibit defense up, do I? I didn't notice that, and I thought I did. So it's, I believe, just a wipe. Yeah, alright, that's wipe. Yeah, because my guy didn't use inhibit defense, which is needed. Yeah. It's neat watching it broken down. I'm glad you're enjoying it, McCollin. I guess I can kind of mention a little bit about what would normally happen in this speedrun. Normally this speedrun, you'd have character like allies, and the normal Ophi speedrun would actually just break both enemies before getting too much damage. They also have better gear, like they have 1,000 extra HP instead of just 600 like I do. But it's fine. We'll just keep doing this until we get it. And okay, I guess this is actually not terrible as long as the turn coming up after is. So I'm gonna have to rev jam. So anyways, having the fire reduction actually does matter because I could take 600 from this and then 800 from the ice and then survive. But if I didn't have it, there's a chance I would wipe here actually because the fire damage would be too much. Okay, this is actually semi-promising, I think. Oh, it's hard to tell really. Let's see the turn order. Not great turn order, but yeah. Okay, should be okay because I'm at full health. I think I will be alright going through this. But I do need another inhibit defense here from this guy. Alright, good, good. I think this should be a win, unless I get really unlucky with, So after I defeat the left guy, the right guy actually spends a turn powering up, and we use that turn to ideally defeat him. As long... yeah, it should be alright. He's gonna basically seethe with rage and power up because I defeated the left guy. But it's fine, I defeat him with this next soul stone. Now, specifically a weakness. this light one I need very specifically. I need either light or dark, and I don't have any darks in this route, so the closest dark is like very out of the way. So yeah, that's chapter 3 done. Alright, and now I will go on to the final chapter soon after I complete this. But yeah, that is her chapter 3 battle, and you can see how rough it is and how many how much time it took me. Alright, so basically plot wise, we complete this next this next chapter and complete her ritual, and there's kind of a plot twist here with her sister. I suppose I won't say it in full in case someone wants to play through it casually, but we do want to go help the sister do something, or like kind of rescue the sister, and also there was this evildoer, and we're gonna try to take him out. And this is her final chapter town. McKellen, I know that you haven't reached this point yet, but I hope that it's not too spoilery for you. Alright. Whatever. What did I just sell? Did I just sell, I did. Okay, that's very bad, actually. I just sold the... that's very, very bad. Okay. So I accidentally sold the Void Amulet, which I need, and I don't believe I saved, so I will actually have to redo that, I believe. Oh, okay, that's good. Okay, I have an autosave here, fortunately. Okay, I'm actually just gonna equip now. Tempest and Void. Alright, so basically for the final boss, he uses dark and wind attacks, and I need the Void and Tempest amulets to reduce those damages by 99%. I accidentally sold it because I forgot to unequip and, you know, equip different gear, but now it'll be better. I'll go to the town and do this. Watching with your eyes closed. LOL. Okay. I hope you still enjoy with your eyes closed. Alright, so I will now go to our chapter 4 town. It's fortunate that there's an autosave there. Although I do waste some time because I had to reload that save. And basically I'm trying to sell here because I want more money for hired help. Specifically 89k. Alright, I'm good. That's 90k, that's more than enough. I will now just go through and complete the dungeon. If you don't have 90k, you can actually, there's actually like an item you can loot in the dungeon and then just teleport straight back and sell it. And that's like kind of a backup strat that runners use if they don't have enough money, although usually it's enough because Ophi run is, well, it depends how, you know, how the run goes and such. But okay, I'm now gonna move to the final dungeon very soon, and this is also a very high level dungeon. I believe level 45-ish. There's a lot of dark enemies and such, and there is a chance of an encounter on the screens. I just hope for no encounters, and I will do a save and quit toward the end as well, to get a little bit more money. Alright, so here, right. If you recall, I learned Reflective Veil earlier. Reflective Veil basically reflects magic damage, and it will reflect one attack. And this boss uses mainly magical, so I can keep reflecting his damage, and because when it does get through and I'm reducing it by 99%, it really helps me survive. Okay. You can also see here I'm level 19. I don't recall the exact level, but I believe around level 17 or 18, his normal just base attack can KO Ophi if it crits. But that's very unlikely if you well, it's not possible if you're level 20 going into the final battle, and I will be level 20 once I do this pre-battle. Alright, so this encounter fairly powerful enemies actually, and I'm gonna defend to get a BP, and then I'm gonna just chuck veterans. I'm gonna chuck a lot of veterans to try to defeat them. Alright, this attack does a lot of damage, and if all of them did it, I would wipe. but the attack they choose is RNG, so they didn't all do it. That's good. And I defeat them with this. I'll also level up from this. It's guaranteed to level up just because I'm so low level compared to the dungeon. This is like a level 45 dungeon. I'm level 20 going into it. So because of that, alright, so here the boss will start soon. This is the only voice boss in the game. I'm gonna mash through this. But I believe for an incentive you can see that did a lot of damage. If it crit and I was lower level, I would have been KO'd. Okay. I'm gonna set up sidesteps first to avoid his normal attacks like that, and you can see here the 99% reduction here coming in handy. Alright, and I'm gonna set up one more set of sidesteps to mitigate that a little bit. Alright, and you can see here it's not doing very much damage. These are just the soul stones I mentioned earlier. And I'm just chucking these to just do a little bit extra chip damage against them. And you see the 99% against the wind, which is the gale attacks, and the consuming darkness, which is the dark attacks. And then with sidestep I block all these things. Okay. Yeah, I was hoping to dupe at least a little bit here. So I'm gonna actually summon soon. Okay. Alright, so I summon this guy here because I want to start getting inhibits on the enemy. And you can see I did not break him with that normal attack. Other NPC guides I would get can break the boss, and I don't want to break the boss because he enters his like summoning phase after he does, and that can do a lot of damage. And I don't have the resources to defeat the enemies he summons. So let's see. I'm kind of just waiting for more. Still no. Alright, this is Reflective Val, and I'm hoping that he doesn't inhibit. Anytime now, buddy. Okay, that's bad. You can see how much RNG it is against the boss with these summons, because they might try to block an attack for you and not use their inhibit ability, which I really want him to inhibit right now. It's alright. That's better late than never, I guess. That's alright. Alright, you can see I'm doing like 2,000, which is good. Alright, so here I'm actually going to do just one, so I can use veterans. I'm going to use veterans one time to bring him down to... bring him down to just one shield for later. He's probably going to do his dialogue here. He does dialogue at 30%. Yep. Unfortunately, I was not counting damage here, so I don't know how close it was. And this is why I wanted a lot of stacks of Alright, I will actually have to just do a kind of a heal later. You can see how like I'm actually getting low from like just the normal like 10-15 damage attacks. It's just the nature of this. Alright. And basically, it's just a lot of reflecting. Alright, now here I'm going to actually use a refreshing jam, which is the thing I looted earlier in the dungeon. Duping it actually doesn't help a ton, but it's fine. About how much HP does he have? 100,000 I believe. Around 100,000. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna resummon actually. Oh, good. I did want a little bit extra. 3. I'm probably gonna actually do a side step. Okay, so this means he's at 50%. So I need to do 6. Alright, so I'm okay with that. It means I just have to sidestep. Okay, and summon. Alright. So, now I just need 5 BP and also inhibits 1. Alright, now he's. Alright, I'm good. 3, 2. I'll just win here. Alright. That's not really necessary, but it's fine. I'm just gonna max boost as many vets as I can, and that should defeat him. Just because I know, based on when he reached 50%, and then I did some extra chip damage too. So. Yep, there we go. So that is solo Ophelia speedrun, lone traveler. You can see I level up to level 23, get his scepter as the reward, and beat the game. And I will see the credits here. Nice. Thank you, McCullen. I'm glad you got to see it, and I'm glad you tuned in. Did you have any questions or anything? Oh, I forgot to split. Whatever. 1 hour 7 minutes is fine. But okay, for anyone listening, I suppose just to talk a little bit about the very end there, I used inhibit from the NPC to increase the damage he took from physical and elemental damage, and then I reflected the guy's attacks back at him. And you can see how after the inhibit I did extra damage, going from 1300 to 2000, and I also chucked the soul stones early to do more damage as well, and it helped that I got some procs and such. It's a little unfortunate that chapter 3 took me so many tries against. I did eventually get through, as you saw, but it's a little bit RNG there, but with a higher estimate, I'm like totally safe, and like even this with all those wipes, I was fine. I suppose it is noteworthy that if I hadn't gotten the K, I would have had to grind probably like 2 or 3 more encounters, but it's fine. I think this time is fine. So basically what hurt the time was the chapter 3 bosses. McCullen, yes, I took a couple tries against that, but otherwise I think that the run was relatively fine. I think my execution was not great. Could do some menus faster and all of that, and my movement as well, and all of that as well. But yeah, I thought that was fine. Oh, Sam, thank you for the GG. How are you doing? Alright. Glad to hear that you're doing alright. Okay. Missed the run, but I'll catch the VOD sometime. How are you? Yeah, I'll put the VOD right on YouTube probably like right after this, right after I log off. I'm doing okay. This is my second practice run back. Last night I was doing a practice Devrust run, and that one clocked in close to this time, 1 hour 5 minutes-ish or so. Best of luck on the 30th. Are you shooting for a certain time? I just want to get within estimate, and since it's a very high estimate, I think that that's should be very reasonable. My estimate might even be too high at 1 hour 20 minutes, but it's fine, I suppose. If I could get, you know, below 1 hour 10 minutes or even below 1 hour, that'd be great. But my goal, I suppose, is just to do a good commentary on that day. It's my first marathon run that I'm doing, like, ever, so I'm actually extremely nervous. And let me see what I want to do after this. I might just raid someone. Let me see if anyone's online doing Octopath. Okay, it looks like someone's doing some runs. Alright, I suppose I'm gonna do some more practice marathon commentary runs this week and next week, leading up to the 30th, on and off. This is my second one back, so I'm like okay with this, and I'm fine with it. McCollum, was my commentary okay? Like the voicing and sound and all of that? Since you were here from the very beginning. Like, were there any points that confused you? That was good? Ah, thank you. I hope I can tune into your stream. I know that you stream on, like, I think Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays and Sundays or something. I think you're streaming tomorrow, so hopefully I can tune in. I hope you have a fun time going into the chapter 4s. I don't remember my first playthrough, but playing through the chapter 3s, 4s, and everything, it's very exciting the first time. It's very fresh and fun. And speedrunning it has been very enjoyable to see these, to go against these old bosses with these kinds of strats. I think it's cool. Oh, I'm really ready. Don't know who I want to start with. Alright, wanna come, because, woo, he sucks. So get him out of the way now. I see. Yeah, Apothecary can be a little hard to use, and also Concoct, I think, is not always super friendly to someone new to the game, just because there's a lot of options and it's hard to tell what's best. But all of the chapter 4s, I think, are like a nice step up, and if you found the chapter 3s challenging, I think that you would enjoy the challenge of the chapter 4s as well. That and his story sucks. I really agree on that. Like, I really don't like his story in terms of just how random it is and such. Although, you haven't really quite got his chapter 4. I guess I'll ask your opinion once you reach that. Like, I'm not a super big fan of Alpha's story, and also Tressa's story I'm not super big on, honestly. My first playthrough, I got the advanced jobs after chapter 3 before doing. I regretted it, made chapters. Sam, yeah, I could definitely see that being an issue. The advanced jobs, break open the game. It's kind of like if you brought like a sledgehammer to like a children's toy hammering contest or something. I don't know, that's a bad analogy, but yeah. Mall of the Ice Dragon. Oh, if you noticed, I actually went to Mall of the Ice Dragon in this speedrun to get the 30k chest in there. Did the boss there because chat said so. How'd the boss go? Was the only survivor with 1 HP, but you won. A win is a win, even with 1 person and corpses. Yeah, like, really good drama. I think one of the reasons why I like these solos is because it is really dramatic when it's just you alone against the boss. I find it very exciting. Stressful, but exciting. Then I encountered it again on the way out. Oh, wow, that's very rare. After you defeat the boss in there, it becomes, I believe, like a 4% encounter rate or something. So you can encounter it again, but the chances of that are not super high because, you know, 4%. But, I don't know, that's funny. Did you beat it again? Or run? I don't know. Man, imagine that, like, you use all your resources to defeat an enemy, you're on your way out, and then the enemy just shows up again. You did? Okay, nice. I suppose it's also easier on the second time through. Stressed. Yeah, some of these bigger bosses can definitely be really stressful, I think. I'm trying to remember if there were any that stressed me. I remember, yeah, the final boss stressed me, but yeah, you'll see that when you get to it. I won't say anymore. But, yeah. Okay, thank you all for tuning in. I think I will just raid someone. I'm going to actually raid Robin468. He's another Octopath speedrunner from Japan. If you want to stick around for the raid, you can. But if you don't want to, that's also fine. Wait. Wait, what's the command for raiding someone? It's like /raid, right? Oh my god. I'm so newbie at this. /raid. It says invalid. Maybe? It's weird. I was trying to raid Robin's channel on this. Let me see if there's just raid channel. Oh crap. Back. Start raid. Alright, raid /raid. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this soon. Okay. Robin's a Japanese speedrunner from Japan. I believe that he can't speak English or anything, but he's doing an Octopath speedrun if anyone wants to tune in as well. I like to try to support the community when I can, and if you don't want to, that's also fine. Otherwise, if you all watched, have a good night, and thank you for tuning in. I'll try to be on later, probably sometime this week or next week for sure, because it's, on the 30th. Okay, take care.